They say, be honest. Be transparent. Let people see the real you. But here's what they never mention. The more of yourself you show, the easier you become to control. The world doesn't reward raw honesty. It exploits it. Your words become evidence. Your emotions become leverage. They pretend to care while they're taking notes. Machiavelli never told you to bare your soul to everyone. He told you to be strategic, intelligent, and when necessary, ruthless. In a world where information is power, guarding your inner world like a fortress is your greatest asset. Everything you share becomes someone else's tool. Everything you conceal becomes your weapon. These 5 secrets aren't random. They're your psychological armor. Bury them deep, or you'll pay the price. Drop this in the comments: what they don't know, they can't control. Number 1, never reveal your limits. People obsess over your boundaries, not out of respect, but because they want to know exactly how far they can push before you snap. The instant you define your breaking points, you hand them the manual to your psyche. Tell someone, I'd never cut anyone off, and watch them slowly drain you. Test your patience, push the limits, knowing you won't leave. Say, I'd never retaliate, no matter what, and suddenly you're the perfect target. They act with arrogance, not courage, because you already announced you won't fight back. That's not nobility. That's vulnerability. In a world built on strategy, exposure is suicide. People don't fear kindness. They fear what they can't read. They fear the person who smiles while leaving consequences to imagination. That uncertainty messes with their heads. It keeps them in line. But when you define your limits, you hand them coordinates to chip away at your self-respect. Your boundaries stop protecting you and start guiding them. Stop explaining what you would or wouldn't do. Stop with the disclaimers. Let your silence be the warning. Let your unpredictability be the answer. You don't need threats. You don't need to explain what happens if they cross you. That's emotional weakness dressed up as communication. Real power is when they think twice before disrespecting you, not because you've made scenes before, but because they have no idea what you're capable of. That's the fear that keeps people cautious, not terror, uncertainty. The kind that keeps their behavior clean, not from respect, but from fear of making the wrong move. Fear of invisible consequences paralyzes more than 1,000 angry speeches. Machiavelli understood, the lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. You must play both sides. You don't look dangerous. You look thoughtful, composed, but inside, a predator calculates silently. No one knows when he'll act or how far he'll go. That's how you dominate without volume. You don't display rage, you contain it. You don't announce your methods, you deploy them when it matters. Never tell anyone how far you're willing to go. Because honestly, even you don't fully know. And that's what makes you dangerous. Let your calm be the storm they never prepared for. Let your mystery echo louder than any threat. In this world, those who broadcast their limits often become victims of them. Those who stay silent become legends of consequence. Number 2, never reveal your influences. When people ask who inspires you, it seems like innocent curiosity. It's not. It's reconnaissance. They want to know what shapes your thinking. Once they know who you admire, they'll study them, copy them, or worse, use them against you. They'll feed you manipulated versions of what influences you. They'll twist the voice in your head into something they control. The moment you name who shaped your thinking, you become predictable. They'll watch for your next move to mirror someone else's. And if you deviate, they'll compare you unfavorably to your own idols. Your hero would never do that, they'll say. Suddenly your individuality is chained to someone else's shadow. That's how influence becomes a prison when exposed. Keep that door locked. When no one knows who whispers in your ear, you become a mystery they can't solve. You move silently, grow in unexpected directions, evolve without permission. You become undefinable. And people fear what they can't define. Your influences should shape you, not label you. You owe no one the names behind your rise. The minds you study, the voices you absorb, they're sacred blueprints that make you dangerous. Give up those names, give up the map. Once they see your map, they know your destination. Worse, they'll plant roadblocks before you arrive. Let your actions speak. Let your victories hint at influence without confirming it. A man who reveals his sources reveals his blueprint. A man who doesn't becomes a force himself. Machiavelli said wise men follow paths beaten by great men and imitate those who were supreme. He never said to broadcast which paths you're walking. That's where most fail. They confuse influence with identity. When their idols fall, so do they. You can learn from everyone while belonging to no one. That's real power. Quiet influence absorbed silently, applied without credit. When questioned, you owe no answers. You become the original. You become the source. Most never learn this. Once they can name your influences, they can copy your power. But if they can't trace your roots, they can't replicate your tree. They see the fruit, feel the shade, but never know how deep the roots go. That's the men they fear. A mind sharpened in darkness by voices they'll never hear. Number 3, never reveal your daily habits. Your routines are windows into your mind. The moment someone spots the pattern, they start building traps. You think routines show discipline, proof of focus. But exposed discipline becomes a roadmap. And roadmaps exist to be followed, intercepted, or hijacked. The more visible your structure, the easier you are to manipulate. Post that you run every morning at 6, now they know exactly where and when you're mentally locked in. Always check your phone late at night, now they wait until you're tired to send messages that provoke or manipulate. The structure you built for strength becomes a script they exploit. That's not efficiency. That's vulnerability dressed as consistency. Understand this. Predictability is weakness, especially when attention is currency and distraction is weapon. When people know your rhythm, they'll sync with it, not to support you, but to sabotage. They'll call when you're most available. They'll argue when you're most tired. They'll appear when your guard drops. Not because they're clever, but because you gave them the code. Shadows exist for a reason. Movement without pattern, activity without trace. Your habits should stay private. Your schedule should stay unpredictable. Be consistent without being obvious. Wake early today, sleep late tomorrow. Train silently. Respond when least expected. Move like static. Always active, never readable. Let them try tracking you and fail. Let your absence feel calculated. Let your silence feel strategic. Power comes from never being found in the same place twice. When people can't predict you, they can't prepare for you. They start guessing. They lose timing. They miscalculate. Every miscalculation becomes your advantage. Machiavelli said the wise man does at once what the fool does finally. The fool sticks to routine from comfort. The wise man adapts before routine becomes cage. Once others see your pattern, they stop seeing a person. They see a machine. And machines get hacked. Erase the trail. Break the rhythm. Eat at 6 today, skip it tomorrow. Show up unannounced. Leave without warning. Make timing your weapon. Make inconsistency their frustration. When they try figuring you out, let them realize they're chasing smoke. When no one can trace your daily rhythm, you become more than strategic. You become dangerous, unreadable, untouchable, a force without pattern. In the game of power, that's who they fear most. The man who never moves the same way twice. Number 4, never reveal what you've forgiven. People love saying forgiveness makes you noble, that letting go makes you stronger. But the world doesn't run on noble ideals. It runs on pressure, leverage, and perception. When someone knows what you've forgiven, they gain all 3. Think about it. Make it clear you let something slide, a lie, betrayal, public humiliation, and they study that reaction. They file it away, not to appreciate your mercy, but to test how far they can push next time. You didn't call them out. You must be soft. You didn't retaliate. They assume you won't. Forgiveness becomes their ammunition, not yours. Every time you show tolerance, you draw the borders of your weakness. But silence is lethal. When you don't reveal what you've let go, they're left wondering. Did he forgive me? Or is he just waiting? That doubt, that knowing uncertainty terrifies more than open anger. You haven't given them closure. You've left the wound open. Now every move they make is haunted by what they think you might do. Forgiveness should stay private. Not from bitterness, but because power doesn't live in making people comfortable. It lives in making them cautious. You owe them no emotional clarity. You don't need to prove you've healed. Healing isn't exposure. It's control. Control means never revealing your internal battlefield. Let them believe you've moved on. Let them laugh thinking you've forgotten. Meanwhile, you've adjusted your approach, shifted your proximity, watching from new angles. The enemy who thinks he's safe neutralizes easiest, not from weakness, but from being off guard. Machiavelli said injuries must be inflicted all at once so they'll savor lessons by being tasted but once. Forgiveness mirrors that injury. Expose your forgiveness too early, speak it aloud, and you soften the offense's memory. When offenses lose their sting, they get repeated. Let people live with that quiet tension. Did he let it go or is he biding time? That's how you become untouchable. You don't react with noise. You don't explain. You just adjust. When time's right, you act. Not from revenge, but precision. Not emotionally, but surgically. Forgive internally. Strategize externally. Never mix them. Once they know your betrayal threshold, they'll walk right to the edge. Hide that threshold completely, and no one dares approach. Uncertainty is control. Silence is pressure. A man who forgives without speaking becomes a storm they can't predict. A reckoning they never see coming. Number 5, never reveal what you're still healing from. Pain is human. We all carry it. Some from childhood, some from betrayal, some from battles no one will ever understand. But in a world driven by control, manipulation, and silent warfare, pain isn't just pain. It's intelligence. Reveal where it lives, and you give people the key to your mind. Say you're still healing from abandonment, someone will test your fear of being alone. Open up about trust issues, someone will promise loyalty just to break it and watch you unravel. Not because they're evil, but because human nature is opportunistic. When people sense weakness, they either avoid or exploit it. If they can't feel your wounds, they don't know how to move around you. That confusion keeps you in power. Never let them trace your pain. Once they know what hurt you, they start watching like a specimen, testing reactions, poking triggers, gauging which words sting and which silences shake you. What was your story becomes their strategy. Your vulnerability becomes their script. And you become readable, predictable, breakable. But when they don't know what damaged you, when they can't see where the cracks are, they assume none exist. That's not denial. That's defense. You don't deny your history. You just stop offering it to people who haven't earned it. You owe no one a roadmap to your past just because they ask with soft eyes. Not everyone wants understanding. Some just want leverage. Machiavelli said he who builds on the people builds on mud. That includes building your healing on others' sympathy, validation, or perception. You don't need their understanding. You don't need them to know what you've survived. You don't need applause for walking through hell. You need one thing. Silence. The silence that protects while you rebuild. That shields while you grow sharper, stronger, colder. The silence that makes enemies guess and fear what they cannot see. Healing is sacred. It's not theater. It's not conversation. It's war. Quiet, personal war. When you come out, you don't announce it. You walk back into the world as if never wounded. You move with confidence of someone built in darkness, forged in fire. Let the world meet you in your whole. Let them wonder what made you this calm, this collected, this unshakable. Never hand them your pain expecting protection. Hide it. Heal silently. Return as someone no one expected because they never saw the cracks to begin with. The world thrives on noise. Everyone's talking, posting, confessing as if visibility equals power. They don't realize the more they reveal, the easier they break. Every honest update, every emotional post lays out their destruction blueprint. While they chase validation, you've chosen different weaponry. Silence. You don't speak for attention. You move in shadows because that's where real power lives. You're not unreadable from confusion. You're unreadable from control. Every unanswered question about you is a wall they can't climb. They can't predict you, can't prepare for you, can't control what they can't understand. Machiavelli understood strategy isn't showing strength. It's making people guess where it lives. That's who you've become. A ghost in the room, a storm behind calm eyes. They'll see you smile and never know what it means. They'll hear your silence and feel pressure they can't name. They'll try understanding you and fail. That failure, that's your power. If this hit something deep, if it reminded you who you are, then move different. Like the shadow. Like the force no one saw coming. Subscribe right now. Tap the like button so others find this too. Most importantly, keep your mouth shut and your mind sharp. From now on, you don't chase influence. You become the force that moves without being seen. The game isn't about being known. It's about being untouchable. And you are becoming unstoppable.